Good afternoon, this is Clark Neighbors with BIS Commodities in Cedar Rapids, Iowa with the market recap for the week ending July 20th, 2018. For the week, December corn up 14 cents, beans up 32, wheat also higher, cattle market higher, and saw new lows in the hog market and pretty much unchanged at the end of the week on the energies. Nice little bounce in the grains this past week. Keep in mind, a week ago is when you put basically recent lows in much of this grain market. So we saw a nice little bounce this week. I believe we're up 5 days in a row. And if you especially looking at the bean market since May 29th, which was the day of the high, I think prior to this week we'd only had a total of 5 up days in the bean market that entire time. So the other thing to keep in mind is a comparative standpoint, stock market continues to rise a little higher in that same time frame. The S&P is up roughly 100 points since the end of May. So from an investment pool standpoint, managed money, etc., seems to be going that direction versus in the commodity standpoint with the CRB down hard. We know the story in the grains, but also the metals market, etc., has had a tough go. One thing we were visiting about here in the office this week is we've went through almost the entire summer thus far, and as we wind down in the growing season, little if any bounce in the market for even a day or two or a week on weather issues. Personally, I can only remember back to 1994 where we've went through an entire growing season without what I would call any major weather issues as far as affecting the markets and affecting the crop. Keep in mind 1994 was a record yield. That's to be seen. We have a record yield this year. It's still hard to surpass last year's number, but considering the weather forecast at this point with normal to below normal temps over the next 10 to 14 days and a crop that's running 5-10 days ahead of normal on progress, that window to have any weather uptick looks to be closing rather quickly. Now we continue to see very limited, if any, farmer selling in the current market, so movement has been quiet. Some areas basis is a little bit better, but that's kind of stabilized to some degree also with, again, harvest not too far down the road and old crop bushels that still need to find a home to some degree. I think the end user believes that some of this inventory obviously will move. Cattle on feed report came out this afternoon. On feed at 104, placements 101, marketing's at 101. Pretty much in line with what the trade was looking for. Cash cattle trade's been pretty limited so far, even on this Friday for the week. We'll see how that kind of transpires, but cattle market's had a nice uptick this week and technically closing at levels we haven't seen in a few months. So the points going forward will be obviously any news or headlines involving trade, which, reading between the tea leaves right now, it looks like there's more negotiations, if you will, with Mexico and Canada in regards to NAFTA, way above and beyond anything going on in China. Right now things with China look to be rather quiet. President Trump did mention this morning in an interview on CNBC that he would be looking to put tariffs on all imported Chinese products. It did have some negative impact on the bean market about 5 in the morning or 5:15. The market did come back some, so meaning the trader looking for that to be a potential supporting factor based on the fact that you can't throw much more bad news at this market. The other thing the president has been remarking on or tweeting about is strength of the dollar, and how it's having some impact on our trade, especially with the European and also the Chinese currencies seeing some pressure, and talking about interest rates. So there's a lot of moving parts right now in this market from a macro point of view that could have some impact too. But with that, if you have any questions or want to visit on any of the markets, feel free to call us at BIS Commodities here in Cedar Rapids. Phone number is 800-373-12 2525, or catch us on the web at biscommodities.com. With that, wish everyone a very nice weekend.